skip the part about unaccustomed as I am to public speaking. I guess I can just sort of forego that because nobody's going to believe it for a minute. So, come on in, Bear. We're going to start. Welcome, everyone. It's wonderful, and it's very humbling to see so many people here from so many different circles of our community. But that's our Dana. She touched so many lives. Everyone here has memories of her, stories that will stay with us for a lifetime. And that's why I wanted to wait a month before having this service. I wanted people to work through the hardest part of their grief, just as I've been doing, and find the happier stories to share. Over the years, when Dana and I talked about our final arrangements, hypothetically, as people do, she said she wanted her friends and family to get together after she was gone and comfort each other with happy memories. And that's what today is about. It's modeled after a Quaker celebration of life where everyone who feels so moved is welcome to come up and speak. So instead of a eulogy, we'll weave a tapestry of stories. And we also have a few stories sent in by people who couldn't be here today. There's 3 of those. So if you'd like to come up and read one of those, please feel free to do so. I'm going to come up at the end and share a few thoughts of my own. And then when the service is over, we'll have food and drink in the lobby. So please stay and eat. Get to know some of the people in Dana's life. There are some amazing people here today, and among them are Dana's 4 brothers, 3 of whom came here from Colorado, and the 4th who came from Oregon. Thank you guys for being here. Now I should stress that happiness isn't mandatory. There will be some tears today, like these, and that's fine. Feel what you feel and express it. And if you need a moment to pause while you're speaking, everybody here is going to understand. I should mention one little thing for those who do want to come up and speak. We're going to ask you to wear the hat. This hat. Yeah, that's right. This was Dana's favorite. And I've come to realize that it's harder to be sad when you're wearing the hat. So, and if anybody's worried about cultural appropriation, I have checked with the descendants of actual Vikings, and they didn't wear this hat or the braids, so we're cool. So no worries there. Well, at this point, I want to offer my most sincere thanks to Chad Rabinovitz and the Bloomington Playwrights Project for letting us use this space today. It's a wonderful organization, and I encourage everyone to come here and enjoy their productions because they do some really fabulous work. So Chad, thank you. And thank you, BPP. And I couldn't have put this service together by myself, so now I would like to welcome my co-host for this event, my spiritual advisor, and my good friend, Rabbi Yosefa McNaughton.
You can clap. It's okay. Hi, everybody. And it's quite an occasion today. Good, happy, and sad. We've come together today to honor the memory of Dana Dyer Pierson, to share in her life and to take comfort in each other's grief. It is traditional among Jews to light a candle. Joel, you want to come up and light the candle for us? You don't have to need the brush, I can do that for you.
I hope this goes easier than the boat. It's like fireproof. I don't know how I did it. Oh yeah? Dana's mystical ghost powers.
Ner Adonai Nishmat Adam, the human soul is the lamp of the divine. We stand before a candle that marks both loss and connection, presence and absence. We light this candle to represent the life of Dana, Her spirit lives on with us in our memories and in the way our memories influence how we choose to live. Source of life's mystery, source of life's fragility and its hard-edged boundaries, have compassion on us as we reflect on our loss today. May this flame remind us that our loved one's presence in our lives does not end with death. May we find comfort as we draw together in this candle's light, and may Dana's memory be blessing for all of us. Amen.
Amen.
When we lose a person that we love, it's natural to turn inwards and to recede from life. Death and despair often go hand in hand. Pain and loss can feel all-consuming and can pull us deep into ourselves. There may be times when we feel that we can't go on, but we need to remember that we are resilient and we will be able to embrace life again. We will be able to walk with the living, and we will even be able to inspire them, as Dana inspired all of us. In our grief, we must never lose sight of the light of the life that was shared with us. Today, rather than embrace the aching void, let us instead fill each other's heart in sharing the memories, the light, and love that we all felt for Dana. Dana described herself as fabulous, bold, cheeky, cheeky, fun, fluffy, joyful, shimmying, irreverent, curious, ever-questioning, benevolent, or baleful, depending upon her mood. But more than that, she was a warm friend, a loving wife, a mentor, nurturer, and an ever-evolving child of the universe. Dana was a beautiful beacon of life and couldn't help but radiate that light out to those around her. Dana touched countless lives, and the effects of her presence will ripple for generations. Laura, you there? Could you come up and read that little poem, please? Thank you much.
Hi. So Rabbi Yosef asked for me to read this poem.
Hot.
Oh.
I don't make the rules, I just enforce them.
Yeah, these are Dana's rules.
Okay, when it is time for me to leave this world, don't think of me tethered to the earth. Instead, think of me when the earth gives life to spring's first flowers, when the summer rain fills the air with rich, sweet scent of earth and grass, leaf and tree. Remember me when the sky is painted gold and red at day's beginning and day's end. Think of me in these moments when the divine grandeur sweeps across the mountains and the oceans, when the gifted rainbow unfurls across the sky. Think of me when you give birth to a new creation, when you paint a piece of the world in your own colors, when you give voice to a song, a poem, or a prayer. When I have left this world, weep only for a while. Think of me when the trees turn, when a gentle breeze brushes your cheek and tousles your hair as I once did. Think of me when the snow dances in the arms of winter's trees. Then wrap yourself in a soft, warm blanket and remember the times I wrapped my arms around you and kept the cold away. Remember the days we filled with love and laughter. Remember the days marred by sorrow and tears. Remember me and all the seasons we shared. When my time has come, don't curse the divine for numbering our days, for it is only the body whose days are numbered. My soul lives on forever. Stand beneath the nice vast sky as the moon parts the clouds and the stars fill the heavens. Remember when we would wish on our night stars and whisper goodnight to the moon. When you gaze up at the starlit heavens, remember the light that was once mine that still shines on within you.
In Judaism, we believe that death is simply the separation of the soul from the body. When we exist in a physical form, our reality is governed by the laws of nature and the concepts of past, present, and future. But when we leave our physical form, our soul, or neshama, is set free and rises above the confines of the world as we know it. After death, the soul goes through a process of transformation as it prepares for its new life in the spiritual realm. We believe that we can help elevate the soul of our loved one by remembering them, by doing good deeds in their name, by continuing to shine their light out into the darkness of the world. It is said that every person is infused with a divine spark and given tasks to fulfill during their lives, tasks that only we each can perform. It is believed that if we don't learn what we're supposed to learn, if we don't help who we're supposed to help the first time around, a part of us will return to fulfill our purpose until we get it right. We don't know what our purposes are. For some it comes early in life, while for others it's later. But when we achieve our given tasks, we complete ourselves and move on to the next stage of existence. In September, Dana started what would be the final leg of her journey. She went back to her mountains. She visited with friends, with family. She shared in one more gathering that fed her soul. And then something beautiful and unexpected happened. She completed her final task. She touched one more life. She helped one more person. She did something that her whole life had been leading up to, something that could not have happened until that very trip, in that very moment. Her divine spark finally found what it had been looking for its entire life, and she walked on to her next adventure. Sorry, gang. While we feel her physical absence deeply, her soul lives on in each and every one of us that she touched. So at this time, I would like to invite people to share their stories of Dana. If you've got a story, if you think of a story, please just come up here, tell all of us, share it. Just a thought, anything, please share.
Good afternoon. For those of you who don't know me, I'm just passing through from Chicago. Oh, crud. Sorry, I didn't know the house rules. I was watching the video as I got here.
We got rules.
We got rules, huh?
We got rules.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Young lady who? Let me start again. Hi, Facebook. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Bess Nivera. I'm visiting from the city of Chicago. I just came here because I wanted to salute my dear friend Joel in recognizing his loss, but more importantly, to celebrate the life of Dana. My story is very quick, and then I have a small passage that I want to share with everyone, of which copies are available. I've made a bunch for you. You're the first one to get it, so I wanted to make sure you received it. It was roughly the 1980s, 1990s, a time of unusual uncertainty for myself and for those of us who worked in a very large company called AdLab. It was a recruitment firm designed to help people like you and me get jobs in everything from retail to places that delivered trucks and other stuff. And there in the kiosks of this particular call center were Dana and Joel. Two pretty sparkly, kooky, crazy guys who I had the pleasure of knowing during my tenure there as well. We also shared an interesting and unusual bond. We both all loved drama. In my role in trying to be an up-and-coming voice actor and currently now as an announcer for a public radio station in Chicago, it's easy to understand why Joel and Dana and I connected. So when it came time for them to start working on radio plays, they came to me in an unusual way and said, we'd like to be able to find a space to record our plays. I'm like, well, I've got a 6-flat, I've got a raw basement, it's kind of musty down there, why don't you say we just do it? And we did. We recorded several plays down there, and in later months and years, I found myself on stage with them, working in a number of different roles at bookstores in the Chicagoland area, which later led us to our association with the awesome Jay Bonanzinga of the Walking Dead fame, novels and other works that he's done. Jay was an extraordinary catalyst, and he continued to deliver on our friendship that transcends to this very day. Time, life, and other factors unfortunately caused a decision for our friends here to move to this great little city of Bloomington. Unfortunately for me, my world was up there in Bedford Falls because, well, you know, George Bailey is, well, George Bailey. But anyway, seriously though, as time passed, obviously we began to connect with each other on Facebook. I got to saw Dana's love and very vibrant energy come alive, and more importantly, her activism and also her desire to maintain a certain spiritual connection. Which brings me to this point. As an ordained minister of the Universal Life Church, I understand the moments that just passed here as well. So my conveyance is very simply this from a spiritual vein. As we walk out of here today, and if you feel a gust of wind coming across you, wherever it may be around your body, know that it's Dana. Know that she is there. She is among you. She holds you close. She sends her love. She knows all is well, and that she loves Joel with all her heart. On that note, and with apologies to Jay Bonanzinga, he is currently in Atlanta, as you know, doing his work, promoting the series and the books, and he's doing an awesome job. But I had texted him prior to my coming here and explained to him what had happened. He obviously felt a level of grief. He loved Dana very much. And I asked him, I said, would you mind writing something for us to share with everyone? And it is for that reason I present this to you now. It is entitled, A Tribute to the Elements. Joyous, vibrant, witty Dana. Big-hearted, sensitive, quicksilver Dana. In this world, we have the earth, the sky, the water, the air, and the fire. And always, always, we'll have Dana. The elements, ever-changing, ceaselessly shifting, reforming, regenerating, solids becoming liquids, liquids becoming vapor. The sunset now her palette, her golden silver blue heart, the essence of Dana, always with us. A force of nature as mutable and lovely as she, like stardust, never ceases, never fades. Her sounds, her stories, the elemental joy that she brought to so many, always with us now, as permanent as the cycle of the seasons. As powerful as memory of Dana, of her love, of her eternal life. Shine on, Dana. Shine on.
And that one was really going to be a hard act to follow, I have to say.
Not anymore.
I'm Liz Duncan. I'm with the National Borzoi Rescue Foundation, and I have Borzoi. And I have no idea how many years ago it was that I met Dana and Joel, but I know they were always doing donations and crafts and creations for fundraisers for us. Every year at the national specialty, that she would always send certificates of work that she would do for us for people to bid on and raise money for rescue. One year I was lucky enough that I actually won the bid, and it was for her to build a website for me. And though I had never met her in person, I had talked to her on the phone, and back then we actually sent emails, not instant messages or texts. And we actually talked on the telephone, and she helped me with the website, and I am so computer illiterate, and she would talk me through it, and she would build things, and then I had a litter of puppies, and she decided that she wanted a puppy. And so we discussed said puppy, and we discussed the website, and we decided that I should come visit with Puppy to make sure Puppy fit into the home and lifestyle that she had, and I wanted to do a home visit and make sure they were as wonderful as I heard they were, because I'd never really met them and wasn't about to let a puppy go until it was a house that I saw. And backtrack, I'm a police officer and have been for a really long time. So anyway, I show up with said puppy, and I'm spending the night with said puppy, and you know, I know Dana and Joel have all these projects going on, pure romance and recording novels and doing play work and doing all this intellectual stuff, but pure romance still didn't enter my mind of what it was. So we had a wonderful dinner. The dogs got along. We had wonderful wine, and I had more wonderful wine, and I was staying all night, so I had some more wonderful wine. And then she said, I've got something to show you. And I'm like, okay, I'm interested in whatever you have to show me. And she brings out this beautiful long gun case. And I'm thinking, oh, I'm a cop. It's a pretty gun case. She's going to show me a really cool gun. And then she opened it up, and you know what it was filled with? It was filled with all kinds of vibrators, and I wanted to touch them all because I'd never seen so many. And I mean, there was King Tut, and there was a dolphin, and there was a hummingbird. I was just like, could I please touch them all? And she said, of course you can. But that was one of the silliest, wonderful beginnings to any relationship that I could imagine, that's lasted for years and years and years. And every time I think about her or try and describe her to someone who's not met her, it's surprising and engaging, and you just never know what she's going to bring out and show you.
You've worn that before.
I have. In the home country, even.
You're so beautiful.
My name is Tony Brewer, and I first met Dana when I first met Joel at MRTW, the Midwest Radio Theater Workshop, back in, when it was still MRTW, back in like the mid-90s, I think?
92.
92, yeah. When they were just meeting. And so we've had a lot of apex moments together. That was a huge moment for all of us, and being a part of Cannibal the Musical was my first theater production, and all the other audio theater stuff that we've done together, which is really fun. And the one that I wanted to talk about a little bit was the trip that Marie and I and Joel and Dana, we took a trip to Iceland a couple of years ago, and which is a very moving experience for all of us. And when we got back, Dana had picked up a recipe for lava bread, and she made lava bread for all of us. And so I don't know if you can see too, you guys gave me, back in the day, you gave me a little rune of Thor, because I played Thor in the Dante experience.
In the Valhalla Triangle.
In the Valhalla Triangle, excuse me. So, and I've dug it out today, because I couldn't find like a proper chain, but whatever, it's there. So, yeah. So I feel very lightened up. So we'll try this. This was, Joel kind of asked for a poem, and occasional poems can be very easy. They can also be very difficult. And I've written a lot about you and Dana and all this. It's mostly in journal form, so I haven't really felt. So I wrote this because I wasn't quite planning on an audience, but since there's an audience, this should go really well. It's just kind of like part poem, part incantation, part cooking show. So this is called Lava Bread, a recipe for Dana. She is in the air, she is in the water, she is in the rocks, she is in the fire. Fire from the earth, stone of mountain, glacial melt water, air thick with puffins. She comes to us as if in a dream. Good evening, folks, and greetings, valiant heroes. Welcome to Cooking with the Goddess. What I have for you today is an ancient recipe from our Old Norse pals, the Vikings. And like a good kinship and warrior wrath, it is simple, quick to start, takes a little time to come together, but it is delish, nutrish, and if you have too much, it has a reputation for making you fart. Is everyone in the logboat? Yeah. I said, is everybody packed inside this herring? It's everyone packed like herring in the stout broad beam ship? Yeah. Then take my hand, valiant heroes. Glory and adventure and good eats await. Step one, you have to realize that underneath it all, despite the harsh landscape, is a beautiful warmth ground out of the fractious pressures the earth herself generates. You have to realize that within us all is an abiding fire accompanied by smoke and steam, and at its release, those built up tensions, boom! Fire from the earth itself, a flame that cannot be quenched. Make my smoke, hear my prayer. Step 2, it comes down to simple ingredients, really. Rye flour, baking powder, salt and molasses, milk, human kindness. The secret is the steam fed by that eternal heat. The secret is also no secret. Love, as solid and immovable as a mountain. Stone of mountain, hard as earth. Stone as mountain, hard as earth. Stone of mountain, hard as earth. Stone of mountain, where seas must find purchase and grow. Step 3, mix it up, of course. Mix everything, sex it up, shimmy and pop it, don't stop it. There's yearning but no needing in this dark, dense loaf, prone to pinching, bred to deliver the roar of Thor directly from ye old thunderhole. Glacial melted blood of Ymir the giant, from his bones the mountains came, and from his hair the trees, and from his brains the clouds, and from his skull the heavens, and from his eyebrows the middle realm where humans dwell. Father of all oceans, of ice born, and into which all tears flow. Step 4, bury it. Bury omens for your future self. Bury bread pot like a body of an enemy deer. Friends will help, the good ones. In the time it takes to forget this, the hollow husk humans incorporate, even for a moment, you forget. After that interminable wait, unearth the dark, sweet, velvety, crummy gift. A loaf like memories, too hot to touch just now, too hot. Let it cool. Wicked wind from top of planet, propelling all travelers toward home, old hearts of comfort and love, and new tables waiting, laden with feast. Step 5. So here we are. Stoners, flamers, ice queens, puffins of air and sea. She comes to us all as if in a dream, gathers us here at the end of worlds to feast upon her memories like warm fresh bread. At head of table, the bearer of ash. We who acknowledge your grief salute your courage and strength, bearer of peace, bearer of victory. For this commingling of ingredients and heat is a victory and yields a sweet, dark, bitter, rich life like lava loaf, birthed from her love of raw landscape. It feeds multitudes. For she is the air, she is the water, she is the rocks, she is the fire we partake, and she is inside us all when we share. And that's all the time she has today, valiant heroes. Cooking with the Goddess, signing off. But remember, folks, when you think kinship, do
Thank you. One thing I did try to teach you, Dana, was to try to contain your emotions. I failed. And we're all better people for it. Thank you for all being here. And I had an amazing sister who taught all of us how to live life fully and to love. Thank you all. I love you all. Thank you, Dana. That's the best I could do.
Thanks. I am German. It's the heart of my people. So there's been so much beauty shared today. Thank you all, and to Dana's family. You know what Dana would say is that we're all family now. You have a room full of brothers and sisters and nieces and nephews. So I just want to extend that to you and let you know that we're all here for you. And Joel, you know that you have sisters, brothers, mamas, papas, enough to make a band. My name is Rachel, and I've known Dana a long time, since the BPP was at the old theater. So we met through theater, and I wanted to share, there's so many stories. Most of them probably I can't really even talk about in this audience, but just really good time involving the gun case and or dogs and dildos, as I like to call that. So that was a beautiful story, thank you. But I think the biggest thing for me about Dana is that she embodied the spirit of yes and I don't know if you do, a lot of us are theater people, but for those who aren't, yes and is an improv game, but it's also a way of life, and it can be, and she embodied it. Yes and means when you're doing improv, you're doing a scene and someone says, "You're the biggest cat I've ever seen." You don't go, "I'm not a cat." You go, "I know I am. I'm the biggest cat you've ever seen and I'm going to eat you." So that's what Dana did every day. She would, I just made that up by the way. That was improv right now. So Dana yes anded every day. She would take the offer. You would say, "I have this crazy idea," and she would say, "Yes, and then she would say, "Yes, and how can I help you? Yes, and what can we do?" She was just this embodiment of community and love, and we all know that, and that's why we're here. I want to talk a little bit about the idea of all the facets of her that we all know. She was a teacher, she was a student, a writer, an artist, a lover, a humorist, a gentle observer, a dog person, a people person, so intelligent. But the greatest thing that I took away was that she was a connector. And Dana wasn't done connecting. She would want us to keep connecting to each other and connecting others with other people. So I think that's the greatest legacy we can leave her, is to keep connecting and saying yes and. You can say it with me. Yes and. Or if you're Dana, it might be yes and. So I just want to quickly share. I had to go quickly because my phone might die. I have a couple of things she wrote me over the years. So I wanted to kind of leave you with these two things besides her spirit of theater and yes anding. And I think it's so appropriate that we're here at the BPP with this beginning of a set. I hope it's the beginning. I hope I'm not insulting someone's set. I mean, this beautiful, finished, interesting set. But I mean, this is Dana. It's about possibility and what this could be. But I do want to share her words with you. Over the years, besides connecting me to other people and helping me, she helped me through some really hard times. And you know, we have those friends that we go to who, some of them are going to make chicken soup for us and some of them are going to give you tough love. Dana was the one I went to for wisdom, and she shared some of the wisest words with me that I have 100% passed on again and again. This was at a painful moment in my life, and she said, "I've always embraced the concept of beschert, a lovely Yiddish word, concept, that means simply, if it's meant to be, it will be. He'll either be able to work through it or he won't, and only he can decide how that's all going to shake out, you know? You can neither force him to heal nor deal, you know?" You can hear Dana in these words, right? So the last thing I want to share with you is just, I can't remember when this message came through, but I think it's words for all of you at this time. all of us. I wish you strength and clarity and compassion, dear lady. Do what you need to be better, healthier, stronger, more loving to yourself, and then the rest of the world, in that order.
Good afternoon. I'm worried about putting this thing on backwards.
You just did.
I believed him.
If you're a true Viking, you won't care.
I haven't had enough to drink to be a true Viking, I'm afraid. My name is Andy Hubbard. I'm here with my wife, Linda, to honor today's occasion. Many of you I've noticed have known Dana for a long, long time. My wife and I have not. We met Joel and Dana 3 years ago when he visited us on a writing assignment, and we very quickly became very close friends with him and Dana. And one of the things that I do quite passionately is write poetry, and in many cases, Joel and Dana have been the first people to see a new poem, and they recently honored me by writing a little blurb for the back of my third book of poetry, which will be coming out in a month or so. And Joel did me another honor of asking me to write something for this occasion. So this is what my wife and I came out with. A person of adventure, a person of boldness, strong desire and strong compassion. I do not know what fears she may have harbored or what frailties. These were not mine to know. I only know the portion she showed to the world, and in it there was so much to admire. Now the parts I knew and the parts I never will have departed in a stillness so great that I and many others can do nothing but stand back in quiet contemplation. Thank you.
I'm John Dyer. I was one of Dana's brothers. Which way is backwards?
The other way.
Which way is backwards?
Yeah, that's fine. There you
My brother Marshall and I went to Cleveland Heights the last couple of days looking at our haunts. That's where Dana grew up. And we went to look at a house that Dana was born in. And at one point in the slides, it shows her walking down the driveway. I remember taking that picture. I don't know, it must have been like 64 or something like that, 66, I don't know. And I just thought, I left home not long after that, and I became a Jesus freak for 7 years and traveled all over and was a great fiery preacher and everything. And I remember talking to Dana several times about being a Christian and stuff, and I can say without a doubt Dana was not a Christian. And then when I saw how Dana loved, I thought, I'm not sure I'm a Christian either. That someone could love like that, you know. And I see her friends, I see the fruit of what her life was and how she connected with people, and it makes me ashamed, you know, that I seem so hard-hearted, you know. And I live out in Oregon, so I'm like the farthest away from everybody, and I didn't connect with all the Colorado stuff so much, and so it was difficult, you know, that I wasn't anywhere nearby when she died. And coming out here, it's only this, it's only you people talking that makes it real to me. And I'm just so impressed by the legacy she had, the love she had for you people, and the love that you show for her, you know. I don't know if anybody saw the Viking funeral video, you know, when I got to build the boat. And when I was building the boat, it was this reality that something's happened. My sister is no longer here. And I'm still processing that. And I just hope that the love I've seen today changes me into a better person. Thank you.
Yeah, we've got viewers. Yeah.
I only have one brief thing to say myself, which is many of you have already said more or less what I would, which is that Dana was amazing and loving, and she connected people in a way, in a bold and beautiful and wonderful way that was unparalleled in anyone else I know, I've ever met. Lesson I personally am taking away from all of this is, hey Cassie, that's my name, sorry, I'm Cassie. Hey Cassie, step up. Be bold. Let everybody know you love them, just like Dana did. I'm going to now read 5 Things I Miss About Dana by Karen Pierson Thomas, Joel's sister. Who could be here, she's from in Alameda, California. Number 1, her laugh. Dana had a clear, melodic laugh like no other I've ever heard. It was a joy to hear, so beautiful that it often distracted me from whatever we were laughing about at the time. 2, her big heart. Dana gave so much of herself. From Habitat for Humanity to AIDS orphans in Africa, Dana actively worked at healing the world, one person at a time. I wish I had told her how much I admired her generosity. 3, her creative soul. Several years ago, I asked Dana to help with decorations for my daughter Sarah's bridal shower. Dana didn't just help. She went above and beyond, creating a theme and bringing it to life, down to the smallest detail. I marveled at what she accomplished. The event was a silvery, sparkly, shimmery success, thanks to Dana's talents. Number 4, her persistence. Dana was unhappy with the direction that our government was heading in what turned out to be the last year of her life. Others who felt the same way, especially middle-aged people, moved down a predictable path from righteous indignation to reluctant resignation. Not Dana. She exhorted everyone to keep resisting, to fight for what's right, to never give up. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. That could have been Dana's anthem. 5, her love for my baby brother. Some married people finish each other's sentences. Dana and Joel finish each other's jokes. They made it look easy, improvising on the fly, but I could hardly keep up with them. Their banter about anything and everything was a simple joy that was clearly a source of daily contentment for them. They shared so much, including a love of travel, cooking, and very big dogs. 20 years went by in the blink of an eye. I'm sad that Dana will not be able to watch my baby granddaughter grow up. I'm sad we will never get to show her around our new hometown near San Francisco. I'm sad that Dana's bright light was extinguished too soon. I'm sad that I will never again hear Dana laugh. And I'm sad that Joel must now find a way to live without her. This is a road that all who love must someday travel if they live long enough. Grief is the price that we pay for love, but we have no idea how high that price really is until it happens to us. Speaking as Joel's big sister, I am very grateful to all who are here with him today. Your support throughout the past weeks and in the weeks ahead means more than you will ever know.
Work it. Work it. Oh.
This is going to be 100 times harder than anticipated. Oh, good. I can't really see any of you. That's fantastic. If I could, you're all in your underwear. It's all good. I met Dana
17 years ago at a Memorial Day party at Tony Brewer's house, when we mutually decided there were no more glasses left and we were going to do dishes. Because that's what you do at parties, is you do the other people's dishes. And if you ever came to either of our homes, you'd know that we don't do dishes. But we did them at parties, apparently. And in that moment of talking to one another, which was extremely easy, we discovered that we'd both just purchased houses on the same street, 2 months apart. And from there, we discovered our love of food and of laughing and of designing things that nobody really understood, creating things out of nothing, making recipes that really didn't make sense but tasted really good. What are we gonna have today for lunch, Dana? Soup. That was always kind of a good standard answer, soup, because we both loved soup. Didn't know what kind of soup it was gonna be. It was kind of whatever we would find left over in the refrigerator of either of our homes. Put it together, and Dana had the magic ability to make anything taste good. Half the time, I don't want to know what was in it because I wouldn't have eaten it otherwise. But it tasted fantastic. We literally lived a block apart from one another. I need to borrow chairs. Literally, I need to borrow a cup of sugar. And we were always there. We'd go adventuring to different restaurants and have lunches that never lasted anywhere under 2 hours. We built a pond together. Her name was Amelia. That was an adventure. There's a picture of us in our bathing suits. It's too bad we didn't take a picture of the auger. We rented an auger to try to dig out this huge hole that became the pond that neither of us had ever done before. Neither of us knew how to turn it on. We did not get the gun case. It was not going to help. Eventually, through trial and error and no drawing of blood, we were able to get it started. And it was supposed to be a one-person auger, but it really was a two-person auger. And we came away with all of our digits, feet were intact, and a very large hole in the backyard that we did manage to keep the dog out for a little while. When my fish outgrew my pond, they went to her pond. And now we have to find them new fishy homes. So if anybody has a pond, come talk to me. The week leading up to this has been really difficult. Didn't know what I wanted to say. Didn't know if I would say anything. I did bring a picture. The photograph itself is in the array, and with Rachel's help, I got this print, and it's on canvas, which I adore. And so at some point, I'm going to have it out there on a table with some pens, and if possible, if everybody could write on the back of it, just something simple, a single word, whatever. That way when I frame it, I know I'll always have the words there. My Facebook post the day she posted was my Dana. And I know I had to share her with a lot of people, but she was mine. We just connected on levels that all of you who have besties know. We could sit for hours and say nothing, and it was like we had conversation the entire time. Her laugh, as Karen said, was penetrating, and in a way that you just remembered it. always. And it just brought this immediate joy to your heart because it was always genuine. Don't really know what to say, but I really like this. It goes with my hair. Thank you everybody who came here today and in celebrating Dana. So thank you.
Thank you.
I'll just put it on the mic.
That's what I should have done.
I think I need a wardrobe mistress. Here we go. Oh my. Well, I'm Lisa, and I first met Dana back in the late 90s. Joel and I are both editors, writers, and we worked together. And that's how I met Dana. And then I discovered that there were all kinds of other ways that I knew Dana and that we had a lot of the same friends and a lot of the same interests. Despite having known Dana for a long time, I don't know if it was just our mutual busyness or what, but I didn't get to see her that often. And nevertheless, when I read of her passing on Facebook, I burst into tears, and I couldn't stop thinking about her. And I realized something, which was that I didn't get to see her very often, but every time I saw her was good. There was vibrancy and memorableness, and I thought of two stories, and they both, more than anything, I think, illustrate Dana's kindness, and they both came immediately to mind. And one of them is about, well, it's gun case stuff. And one of the ways that we didn't know each other is wine, because I drank way too much of that by the time I hit 30. So I'm 12-step, and one of my sponsees was working through Dana with Pure Romance, and she had a party at her house, and I came, and I brought more people that I sponsor in my 12-step programs. And so here I am with my sponsees at this toy party, and one of them looks up at me and she says with a red face, "I can't believe I'm sitting here with my sponsor." And I said, "Well, I keep telling all of you little sponsees that you really need to stay out of relationships your first year, because those are just killers, you know. And you always look at me and say, 'Yes, but I have needs.'" And I say, "Well, and so here they are all just like, But what they didn't know is that I'm sitting there saying what I'm saying, and that this is the second toy party in my whole life. This is the first one was at Dana and Joel's, and I was sitting there just dying. I mean, I specialized in human sexuality, getting my master's degree, and yet I had never been to a toy party, and I'm just like, oh. Despite the fact that Dana was always playful and never, icky, just like really playful and cool and fun and direct. And I was sitting there the whole time just going, and I went in to talk with her in private, as one does at a party, about ordering, and I told her, I was just honest about my feelings. I just opened up about all of this. And Dana was just so lovely and accepting, and with this little bit of a smile, and just so, I don't know, she just made me perfectly at ease about everything, including my own embarrassment at being embarrassed. So I was able to go to this subsequent toy party and be an old hand at all this. And I could never have done that without Dana. And we won't say whether I bought anything, though. And then the other thing that came immediately to mind was that we had a very huge shared passion in dogs. And I think that when I met Joel and Dana, I think that it was Nick and Loki and Promise. my first Borzois. And I just loved being with them. And Dana and Joel were always so lovely about sharing the dogs with me. And I remember getting to walk them and feeling like I was in an Arete litho, going on the dog walk around the square and all of this. And one year I brought one of my own dogs, and normally I have like really huge dogs that I can't handle because of my disability. And this year I brought my Sheltie instead, and I figured that's going to be easy because, you know, she was like the Bozos in that she was extremely gorgeous and had long, lovely, wonderful fur, but she had these little bitty legs, and, you know, she walked like this, and she had little bitty legs and walked like this, but she also weighed 41 pounds and was built like a roll of Jimmy Dean sausage. And I wasn't quite sure how all this was going to go, but I didn't really think it through well enough, and I brought her along. So I'm walking along with Dana and Joel and the entourage and at the dog walk, and we're walking like this. And I thought we were probably the last in the line, which is where I needed to be. And no, like there's an entire dog walk I discover that has built up behind us because everybody's being too polite to play through. And I realized this was not going to work, and we shoved everybody through. And Dana came up with an alternate plan. She just developed this alternate route for Cassie and me that was going to get us back to the park just about the time that everybody else who did the full route was going to be coming back too. So that worked, and we all wound up there at the same time. And then Cassie just sat. And I don't know if you know Shelties, but you know, your desires don't even enter their universe. They're not aware that you have them. And she was not going to get up. And my car was 3 blocks away, and I cannot pick up a dog. And Dana's just like, well, we'll just carry her to the car. And I'm like, she weighs 41 pounds, and she's like built like a bag of water, a 41-pound bag of water, and it goes like this. And Dana's like, no, we're fine, we're fine. And she just scoops old Cassie up, all 41 pounds of her, and starts off across the park. And I thought, well, you know, we're never going to make this, but we did. And you know, she's a lot smarter than me. She put Cassie in the car and drove over to my car and transferred the dog and managed to get us home. And I didn't have to be like the statue of the unknown dog walker in the park for the rest of my life. And she was just so kind to do that, and I felt like such an imposition. And Dana just did not care at all, just didn't care at all. So anyway, those are the two stories that came into my mind. And I have to do one last thing now, because Dana and I were also both belly dancers. Yes, even with the paralysis, I am a belly dancer. And this is belly dance skirt, and I should have worn my coin scarf, but I got to do a shimmy for Dana.
Just want to share something wonderful that Dana did at her Storyzilla story show, and that I saw. All ladies of a certain age, with me and with Dana, we show our wings of victory. Yes, you are the one. Okay. This is from Carol Backers, President of the National Borzoi Rescue. Dear Joel, as I cannot attend Dana's memorial, I thought I would share some of my fondest memories of Dana in this note. I remember the first time I met you and Dana. You were living in that little apartment with lights strung on the ceiling that was dog-friendly with exercise yards for the dogs. You both made me feel so welcome. Dana's love for the dogs and me was so special and given so freely. I remember when, was it Loki and Bella walked Dana down the aisle when you got married? Has it really been 20 years? I also remember the heartbreaking call and tears when you both found out Bella had bone cancer. You'd just purchased your first home. But you both listened, and Bella had a good 3 weeks in her very own yard. I will never be able to thank you both enough for all you did to make her life filled with love. I always remember Dana being there with an open heart for everyone, and always the Borzoi. Her love was genuine and sincere. She always looked for the good in everyone and seemed to dismiss any negative. Her heart was bigger than life, and anyone who knows her is truly blessed to have had her in our hearts and lives. But what I will always remember most about Dana is her voice. It had such a beautiful musical quality I so enjoyed, and her laugh was magical. No one could not laugh along with her, and was like music to my ears. To me, she more sang her words than spoke. I loved listening to her beautiful voice. It reflected to me the beauty of Dana, and she was beautiful. We're all so much less without Dana in our lives. She loved life to the fullest, and we all love Dana. Joel, I am sincerely and deeply sorry. I hope you know you're not alone in your grief. If there's anything I can do to help in any way, I am here for you. Love, Carol.
I thought she couldn't get any more beautiful.
Silly boy. Okay, we're gonna give this a shot. I just want to wear the hat, man. My name's Marcel. I'm Dana's brother. And I had the whole thing planned for this. And then we saw the picture of Remington, and that got me. I remember that day. Little baby sister, brand new on the rug of the fireplace. And my mom looking up, all happy. And I'm wondering, is she happy because it's a girl finally? Or is she smiling at my dad going, I'm going to kill you? It was an interesting time. I was like 15 when she was born, and it was like, wow, little girl's cool. Because I'd beaten up all these guys already, so. We had such fun together. I gotta disagree with a comment I just heard about we're less. Without Dana in our lives. I think we're all more because we had Dana in our lives. I'm so glad I got to see her the last weekend. She was so much fun, and she made the best damn eggs I've ever had in my life. There's no describing her. The laugh was good. The laugh was very good. Smile was better. But every time I heard that laugh, somewhere in that laugh, every time, I heard an evil Bond villain. I love that girl.
That's dead on.
Yes, the world is a better place and will continue to be a better place because of her. And we'll catch up with you, buddy. You ain't off safe yet. Yeah, just before, that weekend before, we were out playing with her band. She was so proud of this band. She turned it into a little camper, and it was the most organized thing I've ever seen in my life. You know, Dana, you know. She goes, this is so much fun. I should have done this years ago. I was like, you did do it years ago. Oh, yeah, okay. Man, there's 1,000 things. Thank you. Dana, thank you.
Read something written by Marcy Tellender, who was the last person to spend time with Dana during the celebration.
Hi. I will say I know Joel a lot better than I knew Dana. I met Joel at work, and me and our friend Alicia and Joel would have lunch together. Hopefully Alicia's watching. Hi. She's in Florida. But I remember the first time that I met Dana, because we would have lunch together almost every day, and me and Alicia and Joel, and we were kind of this little group of like intelligent misfits or whatever. And the first time I met Dana was at a roller derby bout, and she came up and shook my hand really, like grasped it with both hands. I was like, oh, I've heard so much about you. And she was just immediately very nice and warm and welcoming. And I wish I would have had a chance to get to know her better. Last time I saw her was at Passover, and I had my 15-year-old twins with me at the Passover, and this is the first and only time that they'd ever met Joel and Dana, or I think they may have met Joel at one other time, but either way, they're 15, and so, they're more interested in video games and that kind of thing. But when I told them where I was going today, I said, oh, well, do you remember my friend Joel and his wife Dana from Passover? And they said, oh, yeah. And I was kind of struck the fact that, they actually remembered somebody that they had only briefly met. And I think that is a big testament to, Dana's character. So I will read this. It's called Dana Dance by Marcy Tender, Crested Butte, Colorado. We shall dance with the shining ones in celebration. Autumn equinox, the women of Crested Butte wear the bells and dance the tribal dance which Dana shared with us. They are the sacred tree with a view of paradise that we call the sacred pan tree. This is where 75 women offered blessings and gratitude for Dana on September 21st, 2017. We will do so every year, loving, celebrating her gorgeous spirit, the seasons, and Dana, soul, love for life. Blessed be.
Someone says I've needed one of these for a long time. You like it?
Don't take my ass off of you.
Oh, well, there's more later.
Okay.
My name is Bill, and I am the youngest of 4 brothers that Dana was lucky to have, and we were lucky to have her. Like my brother John said, I am just so glad you all came. I think you all knew my sister better than I did. When Dana and I grew up together, and you saw her in those pictures where she was so young, especially the one going down the driveway, we were forced to live in the same room together at our house. And it was literally one of those, that side of the room is yours, that side of the room is mine, and I controlled the door. So we fought a lot, but I loved her so much. I just wish we could have spent more time. When I found out, it was the biggest shock in my life. And I called Joel that night, and I just want to reiterate one thing I said to Joel. Thank you so much for making her so happy. You were a pair like no other people I've ever seen other than me and my wife. You and I were both so lucky. And I don't know if I can say more than that, other than, again, thank you all so much for showing me how much my sister was loved. Thank you.
No, it's not about the hat. No,
It's always the hat.
I love the hat. I actually need to leave soon. My husband is at home with the baby.
Feel the power.
My name's Christine. I met Dana and Joel through my husband, Greg. He
was a professional contact, I think, to start with for you guys.
Yeah.
Writers. He worked for the newspaper and was in charge of several different writing projects. He's not actually connected with the writing part of the paper. That's another story. He told us we were going to Dana and Joel's house for dinner one night, and we walk in, and there is this purple wall with a crocodile. And I think, what kind of crazy people have a crocodile on their wall? Now I know. The best. We need more people with crocodiles on their walls. We could all tell so many stories, but all I wish is that we had more time. Thank you.
Dana. Somehow just Dana says everything. Dana was probably the realest person I've ever known in my life. And that's not to say anybody is phony or anything, but she was so always in the moment and in the present. And she never worried about control or anything. She just was. She was a lesson for all of us. It's what she really was. In Judaism, we believe that death is simply the separation of the soul from the body. When we exist in a physical form, our reality is governed by the laws of nature, the concepts of past, present, and future. But when we leave our physical form, our soul and neshama is set free and rises above the confines of the world as we know it. After death, we believe the soul goes through a process of transformation as it prepares for its new life in the spiritual realm. I said all of that before, and you know what? It's still true. It's still true. Our mourning practices can be broken into several periods of decreasing intensity. These periods allow full expression of grief, while discouraging excesses of grief and allowing the mourner to return to normal life. During this period, there's a special prayer. We call it the Mourner's Kaddish. It's said by the family of those who are in mourning, and most people think of it as a prayer for the dead, but in fact, it is a prayer for the living. Nowhere is the name of the deceased said in this, no mention of death, loss, or mourning. The focus is affirming faith in a divine plan, offering respect for the dead. It provides a special time of separation to acknowledge those who have passed and to help people to process their loss. We say, may the name of the divine be exalted and sanctified in the world of creation. May the divine, however you conceive of the divine, be blessed, praised, glorified. Blessed is the divine beyond blessing, song, praise, and consolation. May there be abundant peace from above and life plentiful upon us. May the one who makes peace in the heights make peace for us and all of us. We are thankful of the gift of life that was Dana. We are thankful for all that we have learned from her in her life and for all that we will continue to learn, even if she is no longer physically present with us. I want to thank everybody who came out to share today. May the memory of Dana be a source of comfort and blessing and light for us all. Before we leave, I want to leave you with a thought from Dana. Joel, you know that from her, for her, you were her everything. You know this. She thought you were the greatest blessing in her whole life. For all of us, to quote Dana, celebrate the good in your life, especially when it seems impossible to do so. Do something kind each and every day, and that's how we will conquer hate. Joel?
It's only fair, I guess.
You look so good.
Yeah.
Backwards.
Anyway. Bangs get in my eyes. I met Dana Dyer 25 years ago today. Yeah, I know. This isn't how I wanted to celebrate it either. And yet here we are. From the minute I met her, I knew she was a force of nature. And forces of nature don't die. And yet here we are. 20 years ago, we stood before our friends and family and promised to grow old together. And yet here we are. We met in Columbia, Missouri at the Midwest Radio Theater Workshop. I had come there from Illinois, she from Colorado. It was her first time there, my second. On the fourth day of the workshop, I was in a particularly long and grueling rehearsal for the play I was in, and my group had missed the dinner break. So Dana went out and bought me dinner before we had even officially met. You bring me cheeseburgers, how am I not supposed to fall in love with you? This act of kindness, I would come to learn over the years, is exactly who Dana is. Friend and champion to those in need, those without resources, those most needing of compassion. It's why she volunteered at the community kitchen, why she gave her energy to causes like National Borzoi Rescue, Habitat for Humanity, Middle Way House, Wolf Creek Habitat, and the Nyaka AIDS Orphans in Uganda. Her pure romance parties, which brought her such joy, were not about selling as much merchandise as possible. They were about helping women understand their bodies and get in touch with their sexuality. I can't even count how many relationships she saved over the years. My Dana. Correction. Our Dana. I share her with everyone in this room, and you all understand the spirit of giving in her. It's difficult to know what to say right here in this moment. So many people have stood up already and shared remarkable stories. I imagine I could talk for days and not run out of wonderful things to tell you. She's the kindest, most passionate, most alive person I've ever met. And for some strange reason, she chose me to share her life with me. I figure the thing about her is she made everything I did mean more. Whether we were cruising the Caribbean, driving through the lava fields of Iceland, or just sitting in our living room and watching a movie, it all meant more because she was there to share it with me. And making her laugh was one of my favorite things in the whole world. That laugh, oh yeah. And that's why I'm struggling now. And please believe me when I tell you that I'm struggling. Over the last month, people have told me how brave I've been. Thank you for that, but I don't feel brave. Because Dana was my strength. Dana was my courage. Alone in my home, I feel the emptiness, the solitude, the silence. Well, when Buttons isn't barking his fool head off, I feel the silence. But I can do all the day-to-day things. Hold down a job, take care of the house. But what's missing for me now is the reason. I am so proud to be her husband. So proud to call her my wife. I loved being able to do things for her and with her, and I miss that terribly now. Our plan was to stay in Bloomington until I retire and then move to the Florida Keys. We were gonna buy a food truck and open a Cuban restaurant on wheels. You can picture it, can't you? Kind of like the movie Chef, but without Jon Favreau's smug self-aggrandizement. We even had a name picked out. Dos Gringos. Because that's how we were, full of big plans. And yet here we are. Dana wasn't home with me for the last 10 days of her life. She had driven to Colorado for a 2-week trip, first to spend a week with her brothers, who she loves so very much, and then to spend a week in Crested Butte, the community where she had spent some of the happiest years of her life. She had been invited to participate in Vinatoc, the annual harvest festival, and she was so very excited to be a part of it. In her final days, she bonded with a community of powerful, creative women. She belly danced for them and with them. She had rigged the back of her van to be her sleeping space, and she stayed on the property of her friend Marcy, talking with her late into the night. In her last hours of life, she talked about how wonderful it was to be there, to feel so free, to feel so good. Then, on the night of the equinox, she climbed into bed in the beloved van she called Serenity, and she went to sleep. And within the peace and the comfort of that sleep, she slipped painlessly into eternity. I couldn't write, couldn't imagine, couldn't wish for a more peaceful passing for anyone. The only problem is it happened 30 years too soon. Kind-hearted people have been reaching out to me, asking me, "Are you okay?" I'm not. I'm light years from okay. I can get up in the morning, feed myself, take care of the dogs, go to work, come home, watch something mindless on TV, and then go to sleep. But being okay, well, that's a long way off. And it's my own fault, I suppose. I loved the most amazing person I've ever met, and she was taken from me far too soon. In time, my heart and my soul will heal. Odds are good I'll fall in love again, but Dana will always be Dana. Always be the one who kept me safe and sane. My lighthouse in the storm. My world. My lobster. I want you to do something for me now. Find somebody in this room that you love. It doesn't have to be romantic love. It can be the love of a friend. Now take a moment, please, and tell that person. I'll wait. Say it like you mean it, because you do.
They're so ready.
There are. It felt good, didn't it? It really did. I really hope it did.
How could it not?
The last thing I communicated to Dana was a text that said, "I just called you and got your voicemail." I think you can guess what I wish that text had said. But it didn't. Because I figured I would just tell her tomorrow. Tomorrow isn't a sure thing. So please make the most of today. Thank you all for coming. In just a few minutes, we'll have food and drink in the theater lobby. Please stay and socialize, talk to each other, and bless you all for helping to make Dana's life so full of love.